when you are in control of it, it's one thing. When it's brought upon you, it's another. So I would say like the pandemic brought it upon us. It's one thing when you want to break it. I'm like, I don't like it. I don't like this color. I don't like how it's, it's not moving fast enough. But when something's put upon you to make you, force you, if you will, you then really see the great innovation that thrives out of that, to see what we can redevelop or reimagine.
Welcome to Forward with NACCE, Inspiring Entrepreneurial Action, a podcast that shares the stories of everyday entrepreneurs, entrepreneurial leaders, and the communities that support us. We hope that this diverse collection of stories brings you inspiration, inspires you to take action, and ignites entrepreneurship in your community as we make our way forward together.
Welcome to this episode of Forward with NACCE. I'm Rebecca Corbin, President and CEO of the National Association for Community College Entrepreneurship. And I have a wonderful NACCE champion in our studio today. She's got a very wide background. She does a lot of sales. She's a person of inspiration and of, I will say, glamour, because every time I see her, she's looking very fabulous as she is today. So welcome to our program, Sonia Rodriguez. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well, Becky. How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing really well. It's our podcast recording day, so we always get to talk with really interesting people doing interesting work. So maybe we can begin there. You can introduce yourself to our audience. Maybe talk about a little bit of your background, coming into young adulthood, how that really set the stage for the career that you have today.
Sure. Thank you. And it's an honor to be here and chat with you about, I guess my journey, and it's coming here into and learning about NACCE. But my background, I can tell you I'm first generation American, born in Brooklyn, New York. My parents are from the island, west in the Caribbean, the island of Trinidad and Tobago. They came to this country with, like everybody else, hopes and dreams, and making a better life for themselves and their families. And my father worked in Brooklyn, and my journey to Florida, I'll just start there. I don't think you want to hear all the years in New York, but my journey to Florida came when my father's plant in New York closed because of moving the plant to Mexico. And he was about, I think, 55 or so. And he had to, I guess, so in so many words, reinvent himself. And my father was always someone that was always doing something. He had his job and always doing something else, if you will, to take care of my mom, my sister, and I. When we moved to Florida, I think I was 13. He decided that he was going to work for himself, and he kind of sat us all down and said, if we're going to live in Florida, we're going to have to make X number of dollars. And he bought a lucite business. At 13, I can say you don't really want to be with your parents 24 hours, or not 24 hours, but all the time making stuff. But we were making and building, buffing with this lucite. And we began with, I want to say the salt of what entrepreneurship is at times is just trying something, see if it works, or see if it fails. And my mom and I, we like I said, we made candlestick holders, picture frames, clocks, and then my mom, we took picture. Because remember, this is like 1987, so we took a picture. We had to go get the picture developed, and we made a photo album of which we then went and cold sales door to door in our neighborhood, and in Florida. And that, I tell you, at 13, it's tough. You get used to what most salespeople get, the no, slam the door in the face kind of thing. And then on the weekends, we went to the flea market and sold items. So that's where my journey in Florida and just having that, I guess, resilience and persistency. I do want to say at the time, as a young adult, I surely didn't appreciate it. I probably wanted to go play or, do other things kids did. And we still had that as kids. I'm not saying we didn't, but definitely I think it helped my sister and I to build that level of resiliency and persistence, no matter what situation gets presented to us. With that being said, I'm also first generation. My family go to college. I had to navigate that myself. And I found, with Pasco Hernandez State College, the very college that I work for, this year is going to be my 29th year. I find that I enjoy and still enjoy, even though I'm probably more on the management side, executive side, with a lot of policy and procedure. But all in all, the essence of for me, the college experience is helping folks navigate this system. It's a system. You have to learn to navigate it to be successful and, advocate for oneself. So my years here have been extremely gratifying, and I still can't believe I'm in my 29th year. And I have to say, maybe right just shortly before the pandemic, my college president, Dr. Tim Beard, he was looking at or thinking about, or we're looking at an idea of a corporate college, and I wrote a white paper and did some with my institutional effectiveness dean, did some data about our region, our counties, and what we want to project to see, and how PHSC can be that influencer of innovation in our counties and in our districts. And so we began that journey in early 2020. And of course, like most institutions and most places, the pandemic hit, and we had to, pivot, adjust, or readjust and do those things. And we've continued to, go right ahead. And I have to say, that's when we joined NACCE, was February of 2020. And
oh my gosh, so that was your pandemic project, right?
Yeah.
Actually, the podcast was NACCE, one of NACCE's pandemic projects, and it's interesting because I think to some degree the pause caused us to kind of evaluate and reflect. But I want to go back for a second, because I didn't know your whole story before. I knew a little bit of it, but it strikes me, your dad is sort of the consummate tinkerer, and a lot of the work that we've been doing at our association, which serves community colleges in the entrepreneurial but also the innovative space, is really trying to figure out how can we take principles of entrepreneurship and innovation and help our students succeed, regardless of what program they're in. If they're traditional college transfer students, if they're in what used to be called like vocational or technical education. And I think about you and the experience that you had, which in a way is almost like experiential education, go to the flea market, sell your candlestick, can't you imagine, like, I can imagine assigning that to a class to do. Like, you have to make the thing, then you have to like figure out where are you going to sell it? How are you going to advertise it? And your story, Sonia, is really interesting because the research bears out a lot of entrepreneurial people come from families that could be ag entrepreneurship, or, like in New York, it could be a more urban setting. And as a little bit more that I know about your story. So as you were first generation, you got into college, you had that experience. What prompted you to keep going? Because obviously you had to continue on and get additional degrees to do the work that you're doing. So tell us a little bit about the higher ed path, and what did you have to learn in a graduate program to really help you be the leader that you are today?
Oh, sure. So I, as you said, I went to college. My college is here. And then I had a great opportunity here to build something at the institution, which was, we call it our information center. But back then, I don't know what that was, 2003, actually 20 years ago, it was called a call center. And we were really trying a new dynamic at the time for us, for higher education, and moving from a PBX switchboard operation of just transfer to that. And I had this opportunity to build something that we'd never done before and change. And it was in that moment, it was my first supervisory job. It was just exciting. And I got to touch areas of the institution. It was in there I decided this is the environment I want to be in. This is the environment I see I can thrive in and I can grow in. And with that, I started pursuing my degrees in management with Hodges University out in Naples, Florida. This might have been like the early of, if you will, we weren't totally online. We did some stuff online. We had to meet once a week at PHSC. So it was great as a full-time employee to do that. And inside of that particular courses and programs, I learned a lot about, it's a lot about, there's the value of human capital, the value of how you manage, how you shape and form. I believe in, how we move projects and move things, forming and norming, if you will, on those, intro to business 101. But also I think for innovators and anyone that's a creator, you're also learning how to break those because you have to keep breaking them to reinvent and build and grow. When you are in control of it, it's one thing. When it's brought upon you, it's another. So I would say like the pandemic brought it upon us. It's one thing when you want to break it. I don't like it. I don't like this color. Or I don't like how it's, it's not moving fast enough. But when something's put upon you to make you, force you, if you will, you then really see the great innovation that thrives out of that, to see what we can redevelop or reimagine.
It causes us to step outside of our comfort zone. And,
Yep.
Even you and I had spoken, I don't know, we were together, I don't even remember when, a couple months ago, and we were talking about the pandemic and things that happened in our lives. And like everyone, we lost people, things changed. And I think that sense of, maybe resiliency is an overused word, but I think the more that you can really lean into an entrepreneurial mindset, it can help you get through the tough times. Because I know I do that sometimes. I'm like, oh man, what, you can ask, why is this happening to me? Or you can ask, what can I learn from this? Or how might I move forward? And I think those are the kinds of questions, I hear you asking of the people that work with you and others in your institution. And those are the kinds of questions that we've been trying to ask here at NACCE, and really trying to figure out, like, how can we make sure that we do provide value to colleges? How can we be at the forefront and trying to move things forward? But I want to get back to something that that I know about you that I think people might find to be interesting. And it's really your experience in the area of direct selling. So you come from an entrepreneurial family. You're obviously 100% all in on higher ed and learning and so on. But tell people, because sometimes people have maybe somewhat negative view of what is known as direct, sales of some sort. So maybe enlighten us, what is it and how did you get involved in it? And what have you learned from those experiences?
Well, and let me say, this isn't my first foray in doing it. I did it as a kid. I don't know if people remember, but I'm talking back in the '80s, so maybe some people weren't even born yet. I don't know. But I in New York, I used to sell greeting cards, actually. And one time I even earned enough points to get a guitar, so I was really excited about that. When I had to think about it, when you answer the question, I'm thinking, well, this isn't my first time, but yeah, what I am is a pampered chef consultant, as well as a color street consultant. And both of those things, I'll start with one, the pampered chef. I began I've been doing this since 2019. And a lot of that came out of, just taking a chance, saying yes. I really honestly didn't intend to be. And I've been using the product for years. I believe in the product. I love it. The salesperson, the consultant that I guess signed me in, I really just wanted the quick hooker. That's all I wanted. And it was like $200 and something. But if I signed up to be a consultant, it was $100 and something. And I said, I'll do that. When she told me how simple it was, I thought, this isn't too hard. I can do this. And it's just learning some new systems. I think I have a great rapport with people. I cook all the time. I use the product. It was just an easy sell to me when she talked to me. And I've been doing it ever since. And I absolutely love it. I can see myself even doing this, full time in retirement. That's how passionate I am about it. And then the other one came out of the pandemic. I feel like some of these things just come out, it's interesting how it affects you. And the other one, Color Street, is nail strips that don't require nail polish, and it's a fast drying agent. A lot of that was because I couldn't get my nails done, and I've been getting them done for 20 years, and I couldn't get them done because of the pandemic. And I had a set. I tried it. I needed more because I didn't want to look at my nails a certain way. And the lady said, you're really great at this. And I'm part of me was saying, I already sell something. I have this full-time job, and now this. And I thought, well, you know what? Let me try. And I did this in April in the pandemic, or right around March, April, not really realizing how fast our world was going to be changing. I thought, oh, this will be fine. It'll hold me over because, we'll be back in May or June, not thinking it was going to be, 2.5 years later. And with that, the funniest thing, it was like everything was happening. So people are getting sick, of course, with COVID. So people couldn't work in the plants. Their U.S. United States-based plant in New Jersey. So they all of a sudden their production slowed down. And so here I am trying to build this business, if you will, and I can't get any product. And I thought, what have I done? So like you say, you shift. I got a kit. and some of it was for me, but I had earned some. I quickly created my own inventory list and started selling that, buying what I could when I can, and then creating my own inventory. so that way I could sell it. And that was just, and it, for me, and you had a lot of friends, family that were in a bind just like I was. And so it started there and has just kept growing. And I continue to do it to this day as well. So I think direct selling, usually you'll find it's people who use it and are passionate about it. I think it's also helping people. They, filling a need there. During the pandemic, we did a lot of the shows, if you will, virtually. And some people were doing, I just want to do it to get together with my friends across or family across the nation. And so we would have folks from all over, which was great. It wasn't just in somebody's home and, 10, 12 people, but we would have 60 people and they had all their friends and family, and we'd just have fun with it virtually for about a week and have a good time. And it just was like a real way to stay connected with people as well. Cause we were, as all kind of, hunkering down in our homes.
In a comfort way too. Cause I've never done any direct selling, but I've been to numerous direct selling like parties and things like that. And it is fun because you can be together with other people. And if it is something that is like cooking related, I know a lot of people found a lot of solace during the pandemic of cooking, because especially people who are busy, like the two of us, there's a lot of hours in the day, even if you have pets and family members and things to take care of, it can be a lot of time to fill up. So that if you have some fun, like cooking things and trying new recipes, it causes that slow down time to be, you can take care of yourself and take care of your family. And what I heard you say is what I've heard others say, like if you do want to dip your toe into some kind of a direct selling channel, you're not inventing a product. You're not necessarily doing a service. Like when I was in college, I worked cleaning houses. They were actually very expensive upscale houses. So I actually loved that job because I got to go in and I'd be like vacuuming miles of carpet. And I grew up in a very middle class family. And I was like, oh man, I can't even believe people live like this. So it was seeing what was out there and the potential. But if people, Sonia, want to get in touch with you, either to learn about any of these side hustles, if you will, that you have, or to read a little bit more about what you're doing on your college, how do they connect with you? Do you have a website or?
Yeah. So if it's about the college, my email address is my last name, Thorn, Thorn, and then first letter of my first name, so S. So real easy, Thorns, like thorn in your side, but just with an S, at phsc.edu. And you can always call me if you want to know about Pampered Chef or Color Street or anything else. My phone number is 352-650-4600. Really, real easy.
That's an easy one. And we'll include that in the description. And so if people are sitting there thinking, I could never, be an entrepreneur, or no one in my family has ever gone to school, and how do I navigate this? I mean, I think you are just an example of how you take a wonderful life, but really kind of take it up to the next level. And despite the pandemic, despite the challenges that people have, you just keep on moving forward, which is what we are all about on this podcast. So I thank you so much for sharing your story. I thank you for being a leader along with your president, being one of our 15 entrepreneurial colleges of the future that are trying to reinvent the way that higher ed delivers education through an entrepreneurial and innovative lens. So I wish you a happy day, and thank you for all of our listeners around the world that are tuning in.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. We're excited of being a member of NACCE. It's been very, very beneficial to us and our movement here at Pasco Coronado State College and all the work that we're doing. So thank you again. It was a pleasure chatting with you, Becky.
Thank you for joining us today. We hope that you will continue to explore the many ways to define entrepreneurship with NACCE as we celebrate opportunity, failing forward, and success, learning from one another along the way. Subscribe to this podcast on your favorite platform and follow at NACCE on social media, and learn more about us at nacce.com/podcast. Stay tuned for a new episode each week. We look forward to making our way forward together with you.